Hey guys, what's up? I'm Atharv and I'm back with another interesting video. I recently visited Iceland, which had been my dream for a very long time. It was our bucket list item to visit Iceland before 2025 and see the Northern Lights as well. I've been very fortunate to be able to visit Iceland this December. In this video, I will tell you how much it cost me to travel to Iceland in the winter amidst a volcano warning and how everything went. My trip was a 9-day trip, which I think is the best optimized plan for a holiday because you can take the week off from Monday to Friday and travel from Saturday to the next Sunday, which is enough time to explore a new place and not too little that you miss out. So I was a bit skeptical when I was planning this trip considering the extreme cold and the road conditions in Iceland. I did not know what to expect over there, and the news of the volcanic activity that started in beginning of November really worried me because I didn't know if my plan would get cancelled. So here's to how everything went. In the very beginning of October, I booked my flights. I was actually planning to visit London, but I couldn't get good tickets. And then I decided that I would just visit a new place. So I went to Google Explore and I just searched for cheapest non-stop flights from my nearest airport to wherever. And then I stumbled upon Iceland and I found relatively cheaper flights. I decided to just go with it, and so the flight was for $667.45. It was a regular economy ticket, and I only took a cabin bag. I also had to take shuttle and Uber to and from the airport. So that also comes under the transport costs to the airport, and that came up to $68.60 for the shuttle and $28.23 for Uber. So in total, my transportation costs to and from Iceland was $764.28. After this, the tour. So as I said, initially when I booked the flight, I was a bit skeptical about how the weather conditions would be in Iceland. And also, I did not know whether anyone's coming with me or not. So I decided to go with a tour because Iceland is a place where there are so many experiences and places where you cannot go by yourself. Like, for example, we went to ice caves on a glacier where, like, you just cannot go by yourself. You need a monster truck to take you there, and then the guide takes you down the ice caves. And we also went snorkeling into the Silfra Fissure, which is a place where the North American and the Eurasian tectonic plates meet. It was a surreal experience, but that's also something that you cannot do without a guide. So my friend did end up coming with me, and we took a tour for the first 5 days. So the tour included the snorkeling, the ice caves, and it also included our accommodation for the first 5 days and an airport shuttle. On our first night, we had a Northern Lights tour, which got cancelled due to weather conditions. But Icelandic people were really nice and they accommodated us in another tour on the next day. So we actually had a Golden Circle tour on the next day, which is, I think, the most like famous tour of Iceland. It's a small circle which goes around most of the attractions around like southwestern Iceland, and it covered a lot of places. And on the other 2 days, we went on a south of Iceland tour, which covered most of the places on the southern coast of Iceland. In this picture, you can see all the places that we visited in Iceland as part of the tour. I booked my tour with Guide to Iceland, and it's a really great service that Iceland has. So, in total, the tour cost me $1,244 for the 5 night stay and all the activities and attractions that I visited. So after the tour, we still had 3 more days left, and seeing everything around us, we decided that driving in Iceland was something we could do. And everyone around us in our hostels and like all the people we met highly recommended us to take our own car. So we rented a car for 3 days and decided to head to the Western Peninsula called Sneffelsness. Sorry for butchering the name, but this is a very scenic peninsula where a lot of Game of Thrones scenes were shot. The famous Arrowhead Mountain is also on that peninsula. So we did go to the peninsula, but there was a huge blizzard when we went there. So we couldn't go to any of the attractions over there, but we really had a great time. So we stayed at the Lava Resort, which was a great experience. We had initially booked a regular room for 2 people, and they were kind enough to upgrade us to a cottage, which was really cute. And there was a geothermal bath right next to us, which usually would have been paid. So since there was a storm and there was no one around, they let us use the geothermal bath for free for as long as we wanted. And we really used that a lot. So after staying for one night in Snæfellsnes, we decided to head back to Reykjavik and explore all the attractions over there in and around the city. So the cost breakdown for the last 3 nights was $119 for one night at the Lava Resort, which came to $59 per person. $166 for 2 nights in Reykjavik for 2 people, which came to $83 per person. And we booked the car for 3 nights, 4 days, which came to $238. So 119 per person. For food and drinks in Iceland, we ate a variety of stuff from gas station food to like making noodles in our hostel to fine dining Icelandic specialties. Some Icelandic delicacies that I had was whale and horse meat, and also lamb shank, which was really good. So in total, adding some restaurants, some snacks here and there, and going to some pubs, in total, it cost me $354.49 on food and drinks overall, which comes under $40 a day for the 9 day trip, which I think is pretty good and under the budget, including drinks as well. Some other miscellaneous spends that we did on attractions and other places was we went to Flyover Iceland, which is an immersive experience where you basically fly over Iceland and see all the attractions. That's where I saw Sneffelsness attractions, which we missed due to the snowstorm. So entrance for that was $35.92. Then I went to the top of the Church of Iceland, which is called Hallgrímskirkja, which was $7.27. I also got a local SIM card from Nova, which was $18.18. And I personally think getting a SIM card is not necessary because the plan isn't that great. And I think getting roaming would almost break even. And honestly, I didn't even use my SIM card that much. There's Wi Fi pretty much everywhere, and I just use that mainly. So, if you're planning to go to Iceland, I would suggest not getting a SIM card at first. And if you need one, you can get it at any store. For transportation within Iceland, adding up all the costs for gas, parking, and local transportation like buses came up to $92.99. And other random spending like souvenirs and uncategorized items came up to $90.50. So in total, it cost me $2,868.63, including flights. And if you exclude flights because you might get better deals on flights, it cost me $2,104.35. And here's the breakdown of all the categorical spending. So another category where usually people spend a significant amount of money is foreign exchange rates and transaction fees. So luckily for me, I spent zero on exchange rates and I did not cash out krona at all because Iceland accepts credit cards absolutely everywhere. And I had 2 credit cards which had zero transaction fees. One was the Amex Gold card, which has an annual fee, and the other was a Bank of America travel card. I think having at least one card with zero foreign transaction fees is very necessary if you plan to travel abroad even once a year. I've put referral links in the description down below for both the cards that I used. If you choose to go ahead and get one of these cards for your foreign trips, then you could help out by using my referral. I had an amazing time in Iceland and would definitely visit Iceland again in the summers for a change of scenery. It's a truly beautiful country and the people were really nice as well. If you stayed this far, then please hit the like button. It would help me tremendously. And if you haven't already, then subscribe to my channel for more such content.